Over the last few years, healing has become one of the biggest conversations in our culture. We hear about emotional healing, inner healing, and healing journeys everywhere we look. People go to therapy, buy the books, light the candles, and sign up for retreats. Yet so few people actually seem healed. If healing is everywhere, why are so many of us still hurting? Healing is almost always spoken of as a journey. People talk about being on the path, doing the work, and growing, but you rarely hear anyone say they've actually arrived. That made me wonder if we've slowly confused healing with the search for it. Maybe we've become more attached to the pursuit than to the idea of arriving. To understand why, I want to take you down two roads that don't seem connected to healing at all, even though they are. One leads through happiness, the other leads through a simple life. First, happiness. Most of us grow up believing happiness is waiting somewhere ahead. When I finish school, I'll be happy. When I get the job, when I buy the house, when the kids grow up. Happiness always seems to live on the other side of the next milestone. Then we finally get there. We achieve the thing we wanted, enjoy it for a little while, and before long, our attention shifts to the next goal. The new job becomes normal. The new house becomes home. The excitement fades because our minds are already looking ahead. There's nothing wrong with having goals. They give direction to our lives. And reaching one goal naturally makes room for another. The problem is that we rarely stay with what we've already reached. We move so quickly toward the next destination that we barely experience the one we worked so hard to get. We become very good at chasing and very inexperienced at simply enjoying. So achievement turns into a habit instead of a moment. We check it off, move on, and convince ourselves that satisfaction must still be somewhere further ahead. Second, the simple life. Now think about the simple life. Many people turn to it because they're tired of that endless chase. They decide they want fewer possessions, fewer commitments, and less noise. They start looking for a different way to live, and that search can be meaningful. But sometimes, without realizing it, we can bring the same old habits into a new lifestyle. The search for simplicity can quietly become another form of consumption, where buying the right things creates the feeling that change has already begun. Those things can absolutely help. A good book can change your perspective. A meaningful object can remind you of the life you're trying to build. But they can't do the work for you. Simplicity only becomes real when it moves beyond what you buy and into the way you live. It grows through the choices you make every day and through what you're willing to let go of. The change happens when you become part of the process. Sometimes that means letting go of possessions. Other times, it means letting go of expectations, habits, or the feeling that life always needs one more improvement before we can finally enjoy it. And that's exactly where healing begins to resemble both happiness and the simple life. The strange thing is that it's possible to spend years preparing for a different life without ever starting it. We keep reading, listening, reflecting, and waiting for the day we finally feel ready. But healing doesn't begin when you feel ready. It begins when something in your daily life actually changes. That's why books, retreats, and courses matter. They can point the way. But at some point, preparation has to become practice. Otherwise, we're simply collecting ideas about a life we haven't started living yet. Understanding something isn't the same as living it. Real healing isn't measured by how much you've learned, but by the small ways your life begins to change. It's in how you respond to a difficult conversation, how you treat yourself after a mistake, and the choices you make when no one is watching. That's where healing becomes real. Because in the end, our lives are shaped far more by the small things we practice every day than by the big moments we remember. If none of that heals, what does? Maybe we've been asking the wrong question all along. Instead of asking what heals us, maybe we should ask what healing actually looks like. Because most of us are waiting for a breakthrough, when in reality, healing is usually much quieter than that. It shows up in the conversations you no longer replay in your head, in the situations that don't affect you the way they used to, in the moments when you respond with a little more patience than before. See, healing is much simpler and more tangible than we often imagine. You don't wake up one morning feeling completely healed. It's something much more ordinary. It's realizing that you're becoming someone who handles life a little better than before. It's worth talking about therapy because a lot of people think, so I just have to find a good therapist and they'll heal me. It doesn't go like that. Think of them as a personal trainer, but for your mind. The trainer shows you the exercises, corrects your form, stays with you, but doesn't lift the weight for you. With therapy, it's the same. If it's within your reach and you feel you need it, I recommend it wholeheartedly. But if it isn't accessible right now, and for a lot of people it isn't, that doesn't leave you without a path. The point was never how much you spend. It's stopping outsourcing your healing to the next product and starting the quiet work that nobody can do for you. And here's the most freeing truth of all. You're never going to be 100% healed, and that's okay. That perfectly whole human being, without a single wound, without a single unresolved issue, doesn't exist. Never did. All of us are just living and trying to take care of something that hurts, and that isn't a defect to be corrected. It's what being a person means. I spent years waiting to become an adult, so everything would sort itself out. Then waiting for my 30s, when the boxes would all be checked, and the good life would finally start. Easy, right? But life doesn't work that way. There's no day when everything turns perfect and happiness begins. Life is today, this ordinary, imperfect day. We don't need a perfect day to have a good day. Do you know what I've been doing to take care of myself lately? It isn't another course or another product. It's something simpler and harder. I'm trying to be a little kinder and more patient with myself. To treat myself with the same care I'd give someone I love. If in the middle of 10 sorrows in a day, there's one single joy, I choose to recognize that joy. Because maybe healing was never that shining destination they sell us. The place where you arrive and never feel pain again. Maybe healing is just doing, every day, the small good things you deserve. Listening to yourself with kindness. And trusting that, with time, everything passes. And that with each fall, we get up a little stronger. You aren't broken, and you don't need to fix yourself before you start living. You can start now, imperfect the way you are. The version of you that you are waiting to become is built through the life you're already living, not before it begins.